Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, welcoming the awesome Craig Bierko from Lifetime's UnREAL right before its season finale. Make sure to check out the season finale. This guy rules as Chet on the show. Check it out. All right, guys, so next up joining me is Craig Bierko from one of the best shows on television. It's Lifetime's UnREAL. Peabody Award winner and one of the just coolest shows ever made, I think. I'm so excited to have you in here.
Calm down.
I was just telling you, I just came from a Victoria's Secret Angel shoot.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more about that. Look now, look what you got to deal with.
It's all about
showing
you.
Too much skin.
You could be a Victoria's Secret Angel in another life.
Maybe in another life. Maybe my next life.
I think you could be an executive producer in your next life because you play a heck of a crazy, insane, I'm trying to find the words to describe your character on UnREAL. This dude, him chasing around Quinn, him scheming behind the scenes.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? This guy.
He's a tad unhinged. He's a little unhinged. I love playing Chet. I'll need a team of psychiatrists to help me deal with the fact that when I was sent the script, they said, we wrote this part for you. I'll need a lot of people to help me deal with that fact one day, but I love the part. And it's just up there with anything that I've ever gotten the opportunity to play. And it was just a soft ball out of nowhere, and I caught it, and I, when they told me about the show, they said, now this was 2 and a half years ago. Yeah, it's about 2 years ago. Lifetime to me was what it was. It was a show that was doing much softer content.
It's like Mommy Dearest, and it's just that type
on a harsh day.
Right. It's TV.
Mainly
movies.
It was TV like I Can't Stop Crying, and I Can't Stop Crying Too, and I'd done stuff for Lifetime. I think a movie that I had done, a Daniel Steele movie that I had done. It's like it's on there forever, and people still watch it. They love it, that kind of content. But it wasn't something that I could really relate to personally. So when this offer came, it was like, yes, it's a show about a reality show, and it's going to be on Lifetime. My immediate feeling was, well, that's it. It's over. It's over.
You're like, my career,
yeah,
what is
some
happening
guys
right
go to
now?
Italy and make cowboy movies, and I'm going to do, maybe I'll do this. And I read the script, and I really was taken aback because it wasn't subject matter that particularly interested me. I mean, I thought the idea of a reality show was interesting. I hadn't seen a show like that, but I wasn't a fan of the shows in particular. I think I'd watched a season of The Bachelor when that guy was on it, Juan Pablo was on it. But that was less about the show and more about
Juan Pablo.
Yeah, I want to get to that last live episode and watch this guy take entire studio out or whatever was going to happen. But other than that, I really wasn't very familiar with it or the story that Sarah Gertrude Shapiro and Marty Noxon were telling, which was so intense and involving that everything else fell away, that I had to reread the script and think, why? I think I just like that. Let me read this again because that can't be true. And I reread the script and I loved it. I loved the two main characters, which were Quinn and Rachel, and I had some familiarity, obviously, with the people who were playing them. I've been friends. I've been friends with them for a while, and they're going to be terrific in this. And whoever gets to play this part is lucky. Oh, I can do this if I want, and I just jumped at it. And it's been terrific. It's been such a great ride. It feels more like we're making an independent film than television.
It's funny because you and I were just talking before we went live. I had Sherry in studio season 1. And Lifetime sends us the first 3 episodes. And we had the same reaction. My producer, Maddie, and I were like, oh, another Lifetime show. And no offense, Lifetime, you guys are terrific. We love you. We have such a great relationship with them. But we're like, we never imagined what we saw those first 3 episodes. And her and I looked at each other and we're like, this show is freaking awesome. Yeah. And I remember sitting with Sherry and I was just like, holy cow, you guys have a hit on your hands. Has it blown you away to see this? Like, you're Peabody Award winners, Emmy nominations. I mean, you've gotten you're the critical darling of television right now. You've been doing this a long time. Does it blow you away to see the critical reaction the show's gotten?
I don't think the how lucky I am and the gratitude. I mean, I can remind myself of it every day, which I do, believe me. But that it hasn't caught up with the fact that the actual luck is slightly faster than the ability to comprehend and embrace it. You have to remind yourself, this is a really fortunate moment, and it's coming. I've been doing this now for a while. I know how rare this is. This is the first time I've ever heard second season from anything more than a waiter. My entire career. I think I've topped it like 17 episodes, and it was a strain even then. Like the camera crew wasn't even watching at that point. This was something that it's really odd. I didn't find it remarkable because I thought this is really, really good, and I also thought, I'm not, I'm part of this machine, and I'm really proud, and I wouldn't want to do anything on this show but this part. I want to play this guy, and I love that, it's not all on this guy's shoulders. And that brings it to the first joy of this thing, which is that it's something truly progressive from a I don't know what you say these days. You say station, but from a network that had been branded in people's minds.
Yep.
And in this time, it's such a fluid time in entertainment that they actually put their money where their mouth is, and all of their art and all of their guts and balls, if I may say so, and they rebranded themselves like cowboys, and in the midst of all of this change, they actually did what they said they were going to do. This show was something that had been on the blocks for a while. They knew they loved the show. They got a taste of it because Sarah had created a short film they gave them a visual sense of what it was that she wanted to do. They knew they were on for the long ride, and they made a version or two of it before they found the world that we're inhabiting now. I mean, this was a true, brave, creative act. I mean, truly creative, that television rarely assigns themselves time for, because it's not cost efficient, and it is a real risk, especially, and I call it a cowboy move because it's the first one out of the box. They wanted to get it right. They wanted to release that skeet and blow it up out of the air, and that's what they did. It's admirable, and they set a precedent for other companies. And I love when somebody sort of is quietly running on the side and then gets an idea, they feel very strongly about it, and then they run towards the middle when it's time and they overtake the pack. That's the way I feel about the show. I mean, I'm very proud to be part of what Lifetime is doing, which is redefining the kind of content they can put out there. They were a largely a brand that was representing women, but what they're doing now is they're not catering to an idea of what women are. They're actually expanding on what is entertainment. Now, you told me that you were a fan of the show. I have guys coming up to me all the time who say they love the show. They're not, plenty of guys were with their girlfriend. They started watching it because their girlfriend started watching it, that was the only reason I watched the reality show that I watched. But I have plenty of guys who've discovered the show on their own. They identify with my character, which is terrifying, or the other male characters.
Chet is such a train wreck. He's amazing.
But he's also the way he's written is actually, especially this season, I find he's human. He's a human being, and he's discovering things about himself.
He's trying to redeem himself. It feels like this season. And it's funny you mentioned that because with season 2, we're seeing this redemption. He loses weight. I know you lost weight in real life to stay with the character. Talk to me about how much of you is in Chet. Obviously, you're not Chet, but how much of yourself do you have to throw into to create Chet, and then how much of it is actually going out into the world and creating this character?
Well, the part of Chet that's a drug abuser, I'm definitely not. There are drugs, the most popular drugs. I've never seen them, which is kind of remarkable for how long I've been in the business.
In Hollywood? That's
crazy. Well, it also goes to show you just how many parties I'm getting invited to, but might have more to do with my popularity than what's out there. But no, that's never been it for me. The last thing I need is something that's going to make everything speed up a little bit more. But what I can relate to, I think a lot with, and what I connected with Chet was what he was going through with Quinn, certainly, And in a lot of ways, I had to, there were things that were certainly going on in my life at the time. This will happen every once in a while, where it forces you to step into the shoes of somebody you do not understand. And that happens a lot too. So there's a lot in Chet that I recognize in other people that I have to deal with or have had to deal with. And it forces me, if I'm going to give the kind of performance I want to as an actor, which is, hopefully something honest, is that it forces you to consider what another person is thinking who might or might not have your best interests in mind. Or that's the way it seemed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you're sort of sitting in the seat of your opponent. And at the end of the day, it never does anything but something positive. It connects you to people, and that we really are all the same, that nobody's trying to just stab you in the back. Nobody on this show, at least the way that I look at it, when you get right down to it, is doing anything other than trying to feel more connected to humanity. They just don't know how to do it. And it just so happens, the irony is that they write this greeting card of a show, which is total crap, and they know it, they're very cynical about it. But what they're creating romantically, the illusion that they're creating, is something they would each kill for. Leave this thing in a second if they had.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I think one of the things that is so appealing about this show and why people connect is we are in this reality show age. You have everything from the Kardashians to The Bachelor to Who Ate My Food Yesterday. I mean, you can think of a million different reality shows that are happening right now. What do you think? Your show is obviously a commentary on the reality show concept. What do you think that commentary is?
I don't know if it's a commentary so much on reality shows. I do think it is that. I think that's the door in, but I think the reason I connected to the script, because if it was that, frankly, I don't think I would have done it. It wasn't a world that interested me enough that I thought, oh, I want to spend a portion of my life digesting that and reinterpreting it for people the way I need them to see it. I take myself a little bit more seriously than that. What this is like any good story, is it has a provocative doorway that leads you into the story we all really want to watch and be a part of, which is, how are we going to get along with each other, either in a work situation or in the world. And at the end of the day, that's what really, really good drama does. It shows us ourselves, and we can use these characters, the one that we most identify with as a kind of avatar, and sort of hopefully get inspired, at the very least bit, inspire conversation. And that was what I connected with. I thought, oh, I keep reading this script, the first episode, and I forget the fact that what they're doing, which doesn't interest me.
Right. Like everlasting, who cares?
Well,
it's like really about the relationships.
It does interest me now. And I'm not so sure it ever interested Chet. I think Chet, but I don't know. But I never really consider that. I just think Chet made money, and he had a means to sort of like keep his machine going, which was to keep himself numb. And we're seeing him at a moment in life where it doesn't work anymore. And he has some real things at stake. He's discovered, oh, this person that I love and I've been keeping waiting is the real, genuine article, and I might be too late. And it's a heartbreaking moment that I think everybody past a certain age can certainly recognize, and on either end of the spectrum, and that's where the real meat of it is for me. And then when you've got an actress, like a lot of the stuff that I play is obviously with Constance, who's just an extraordinary actress, makes very, very strong choices.
She's so great as Quinn.
You could just, this feeling of being able to lean back. I've known her for a while. We were on Boston Legal together. We didn't do very much together, but we entered the show together. And then, so I've been aware of her for a long time. And I told her after we started this, I said, we didn't do enough on that show. I didn't realize just how great you are. You're just so terrific. It's also, you're watching somebody meet the part of the lifetime. This is the part that she was born to play. Yep. She's terrific in it. And the same with Shiri. Shiri, in the I don't know what context people will be seeing this in, but in the story, we're just sort of discovering, Shiri's had a secret between her mom and herself that's very dark, that she just revealed in last night's episode. And the kind of work that Shiri's doing, it's extraordinary. This again, it's very specific. I wasn't aware of what was coming. I knew story-wise what was coming, but I didn't see these scenes. I wasn't involved. So I knew it was good because I was drawn in. I absolutely believe. It's so strange to bounce in and out of this world. When I see the Yof walk in, I go there and I am there. You know, but I bounce back into the world and watch Sherry play this character who's in so much pain.
Yeah.
They're great with each other. It's a true. I mean, if you look at great partner movies like the ones Newman and Redford made, you know, the characters irritate each other a little bit, and that's what makes them so funny with each other. And when you've got a series, it's got to be a longer. They really have to rub against each other, but that's a true partnership. It's a joy to watch two dancers who just they can feel each other and they dance with each other, and that's really what we're all out there supporting. And the main idea of the show, which I again, this was going back to Lifetime being cowboys, is it's a segment of the population, females older than 28 years old, who actually have lives that are interesting to observe and watch evolve. That's what this is about. And you see, you know, we have an influx of women who are a certain age, but they're not all, you know, below 28, but who are really watching are the women who are in that next stage. And I think it's very brave, and I think it's also, well, not brave, but financially it certainly was a risk to take with the show. I felt very strongly about it, but I didn't have one feeling, and I thought this is something great, but a lot of great things get passed over because they're not.
True.
It just happened to catch fire, an idea that is actually progressive, but is also well written, happened to be timed perfectly, and people like the story, but it's also moving something forward, which I think is important, which is female-centric storytelling.
I have two quick questions before I let you go. Number one, you play an executive producer on television. If in real life you could executive produce either a current show or fictitious show, what would it be?
That's a good question. Well, I do write. I have a writing partner, and so I'm just going to say the stuff that I'm working on, which I can't quite reveal yet, but I'm very excited about. Yeah.
And number two, who do you get that you look like every single time someone says you look like somebody?
Oh, I don't so much.
Clive Owen.
Oh, well, that's all right. Maybe, okay, well, that's all right.
He looks just like Clive Owen, right?
Okay, all right, well, I was, you know.
I'm like, look, I look at you and I'm like, oh my God, he looks just like Clive Owen. I just interviewed Clive recently. I'm like, oh my God, you look just like him.
Is that right?
It's crazy, yeah.
I'm sure he gets,
Nicest guy, by the way.
People say to him, you look like.
Look like Craig Bierko.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm very British. Is that a sort of? Is he an Indian? What is that? Yeah.
Dude, you're awesome.
Thank
Congratulations on the show.
I'm thrilled.
Season finale's coming up, so that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it gets. You think it's dark? It gets darker than dark. It gets pretty dark out there.